sage, the sound of the music, the sound of Seth's voice in the water, feeling the comfort of all of your guides and guardian angels that are present with you here in the room. Feeling the light surround you. Feel the presence of any deceased loved ones, ascended masters, teachers, and of your starseed family, elementals, energy of the earth, experiencing all of the high vibrations that are around you that sometimes we tend not to notice. Feeling your energy ground and center. Feel the beautiful light coming in. Feel light coming into your body. Feel it permeating all of the cells. Going all the way down through and out the bottom of your feet. And sense that light going all the way in the center of Mother Earth. As you ground and center, you are connected to Earth and the ethers simultaneously. You are the yin and the yang. You are the bridge between heaven and earth. You are a three-dimensional being connected to the higher dimensions. This is the beauty and the divinity of who you are. Sense this peace. Sense this gentleness. Feel the grace. You are always connected to the divine, but sometimes we forget we are connected. Becoming aware of your connection to the divine at all times, in all places, all dimensions, all time and space. Remembering who you are. Remembering the beauty of who you are. Being at peace, being a joy. Feeling gentleness. Sensing all of your meridians lining up, all of your chakras lining up, all of your senses expanding. For indeed we are all capable of exercising our innate abilities related to extrasensory perception. We are all profoundly connected to a source of energy. Call it God, call it Allah, call it sure what happened to our guest speaker, Rupina Mir. I'm sensing that she's on her way, so we'll just welcome her when she gets here.
I talked to her a month ago. I know she definitely knew about it.
Oh yeah, I was on the phone with her, 2 days ago we emailed and we're going over the topics and everything, so I'm sure what energy has her delayed will clear for her and she'll be here. Rupina's going to talk to us about breaking the sugar addiction when she gets here. I need a bit more sound on here, don't I? Yes. Oh, thanks. It's a lot. I bet you turn off the music. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be here. That's the main volume. If you, oh, that's better. Yeah, and then you can, on the CD player, you can turn the music down. On the left. Yeah, it's all tricky. Still figuring it out. Thank you, Seth. So when Rupina gets here, we'll be talking about breaking the sugar code addiction. And it's interesting because when I was thinking of my topic this morning, which is group consciousness, it occurred to me that the topics weren't overlapping. And I tend to want to tie them in some way or join them in some way, but and actually indeed they are, because group consciousness is what dictates a lot of the food sources that are out there, and we accept those things. So yesterday, after our holistic healing fair, Adavan and I, those of you that don't know my husband in the back, this is Adavan, and he's from Iran, so his background is Persian. And yesterday was the Maragon Festival, and it was held over the Irvine Bowl, and it's their annual celebration of the fall harvest. And it's a really beautiful event. It's going on yesterday and today, so if you feel like going over there this afternoon, and you want to just immerse yourself in a different culture and get an experience there. And it was really beautiful. They had, as you enter, all kinds of tents of all the different provinces of Iran, and art and costumes and different artifacts of things that belong to each province. And as you made your way through, there were different stalls of food and teas and pastries and a couple of different stages of music. So we went there yesterday, and it was a long day. We had the holistic healing fair yesterday, and I almost, when Adavan pulled up in the parking lot, I was almost going, oh, I'm kind of tired. I went, no, you know what, this will be fun. I'm going to shake it off. I'm going to go. And I'm really glad that we went. And as you know, sometimes I don't get my topic for Sunday gathering until right before it starts. And we were sitting there last night at the dinner table. We were eating some fresh barbecued kebab. Oh my gosh. And I'm so sorry for those of you that are vegetarian. You don't know what you're missing. And I was sitting there thinking, I don't have my topic yet for tomorrow, but I always trust that it will come. And as we finished eating, I was looking around, and all of a sudden my topic came to me, and all of these Iranians, and it was probably 2,000 or 3,000 people that were there, and they were all there together, eating the food that they love, that reminds them of home, and listening to their own music, being immersed and hearing for 2 or 3 square miles nothing but Farsi. And not just for Iranians, but for any people who are away from home. And even if you are an American, you may be far away from home. Maybe you're home and your family are in New York or in a different state. And when you get an opportunity to immerse yourself in something that feels like home, I couldn't help but notice all of a sudden I sat there, and Adavan went off to get some tea and some pastries, and in that moment while I was there for about 10 minutes by myself, I sat there and I just tuned into the group consciousness. And all I felt was joy, company, home, food and language, And I'm sure that everybody there, maybe they had their family troubles and just like everybody else, worried about their mortgage or their job. But while they were there, the predominant feeling was joy. They were so happy to be together, and they were so happy to be speaking their own language and hearing their own music. And I just sat there and I just tuned in to this feeling, and I just thought, this is what we're trying to work towards as we awaken. We're trying to create a group consciousness of joy. And so for that brief moment while I was sitting there, I got to experience what it felt like to be sitting in a place where everybody around me simultaneously was feeling joy. And it was really beautiful. And they were just, everybody walking around was smiling. And it was just rich because, as you know, for any foreigner, not just Iranians, whether you're Chinese or Vietnamese or Japanese or whatever part of the world you're from, when you come to a foreign country, you listen to a foreign language. You listen to food that isn't your home, isn't your own. And so when you go home, and Ron was just talking about his family took a trip to Germany and they found, some friends of the family there, and you're eating the foods that for generations your family has been eating. And even just going back and eating food that you're used to gives you a feeling of being home, something that's familiar. And it's warm, it's inviting, and it's uplifting. So even if you're not Persian, which I think nobody else in the room here but Anabon is, and you go over there this afternoon, enjoy the food because it's delicious, and hear the music because it's really beautiful. But anytime you go to any cultural event where there's a gathering of people like that, get a sense of the joy. And it's not the same as if you went to Iran, because for there, or any foreign place when you go, and Pearl just got back from Italy. Now, when you go to a foreign country, the people that are there, to a degree, will take it for granted. It's not the same as if there were a gathering of Italians that were here, that all of a sudden had that feeling of appreciation of being together. And that was what we got to experience yesterday, was the joy of, they got to just feel what it felt like to not be in a foreign place and feel that sense of being at home. And so it was just wonderful. And it reminded me of what it is that we're going to be creating here. When you get into a group situation and you pray, like we're going to be doing on 11/11/11, where all over the world people can be getting together and setting purposeful intent. Anytime you create something simultaneously where multiple people get together and set a purposeful intent, the power of that is beyond expression. And the people at this festival yesterday weren't even doing it intentionally. They weren't even setting intent to come in and create joy together. It was just something they were doing without even thinking of, and it was that powerful. So think of what it's like. If you had that many people, what would it be like if we gathered in one place, 2,000 or 3,000 people, and sat together and created purposeful intent? Excuse me, ma'am, would you mind just moving to your right and see? The camera.
I'm so sorry.
We'll just edit that part out.
How you doing?
Thank you so much. No, it should have a big sign on there. We should take that seat away. That would help. I think I did last time. Not your fault. Anyway, so what would happen if we got a couple of thousand people together in an event like that? And could you imagine the power if they were all sitting there together with purposeful intent, creating some kind of prayer for the earth, or for peace, or for awakening, or for joy, or for being green conscious, or for looking at tolerance in cultures, and for looking at abandoning fear, and avoiding anger and insecurity, and any of the things that plague our chance for happiness and peace every day. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't it be amazing? whenever we get together, even in a group this size, even if there's only 20 or 25 of us, I'm going to take you into a meditation, and I ask you to set intent to be in a place of joy and peace. When one or more are gathered, there is such a powerful message in that. When one or more are gathered, it's exponential. 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It equals an energy that is even beyond exponential calculation. So it was just really beautiful last night to sit there and feel the joy. I mean, there wasn't one person that was miserable to be there. There were thousands of people that were all happy to be there and happy to be together and happy to celebrate their fall equinox celebration, their fall harvest. It's at Wild Rivers, and I think next year it's going to be at someplace else. They have to change it every year sometimes because it's such a large venue. It's been at the fair in the past. But Wild Rivers was a beautiful place for it to go because there was a lot of lakes and green, and there was water fountains, and you could just, everywhere you went in there, you just smelled kebab. I mean, it was like, there must have been 30 different caterers there making kebab, and you just walked in there, and even if you're a vegetarian, I mean, you would get to experience what it was like because the smells were just so great. And there was lovely teas and desserts and things. So I do encourage you. So when you start a prayer, this is why we gather in groups. This is why we create communities. This is why we bring things together, yoga classes and concerts together. Anytime we gather, anytime we come together and set the same intent, my guides are telling me that what we create is absolutely beyond our comprehension as far as the blessings that it gives to the area that's around us. When I started teaching classes with Theta Healing, and I told people to take that energy that was here in your heart and expand it out 3 feet beyond your body, I thought that was pretty amazing, that we could take our energy and create kind of like a spherical shape around us that was 3 feet out. Now when I take people into meditation, I tell them to take it 50 feet out. 50 feet is what? That's even beyond, I'm so terrible at measurements. I mean, that's like beyond this room. What would your day be like if everywhere you went to the grocery store, or to the movies, or shopping? Can you imagine what you would feel like if everybody around you brought in heartfelt energy, expanded their space, brought in light, and took their heart space and expanded it out 50 feet beyond their body? And if we do it, and we create that sense when we do it, and sometimes, I know you leave here sometimes and it lasts for a couple of hours, and it might even last a day. Maybe by the time you get to Monday or Tuesday, that feeling might have waned a little bit. What would it be like if every day everybody woke up, brought in the energy of the divine, connected to it, increased it, took it from their heart, sent it out 50 feet beyond their body, and what if 6 billion people every day did that? Can you even imagine what our world would look like? The manifestations. Everybody would be doing alchemy. There was the stories from the Bible about Jesus turning, bread into food and water into wine. I mean, that's just alchemy. Although what he did was amazing, we all have the ability to do alchemy, to create things. And if we were all working together, and that's what this is all about here. This is what we talk about here every week. This is what all the metaphysical churches and all the spiritual churches, what everybody is doing is talking about creating group consciousness together. This is not just about your personal healing. It's not just about you feeling better. Well, that's an amazing thing. Because we start here at home. And we create that space in here that gives us joy and peace and feeling of union. But the greater purpose is, as we do that, it's infectious. And then if we can get everybody to do that, we can live in a world that is beyond comprehension. It's beyond anything of our wildest dreams, and that's possible. We're not just talking about a John Lennon song, Imagine All the People Being at Peace. We're talking about actually doing it. And that's what he meant when he wrote that song. He wasn't writing about something that was just, oh, wouldn't it be nice one day if it could be something like that. He really meant, when he said imagine, because imagine is how we create. Imagining is the first step. Is it so hard to actually imagine a world with no more wars, no more famine? One of the things I talk about when I ask you all to consider how innately psychic you all are. You all have the ability to exercise your extrasensory perception. And one of the reasons for doing that is if everybody could see everybody else's truth and our own truth, we'd have a world with no more lies. Could you imagine that? A world with no more lies. Where people would even begin to say something that was untrue because maybe they felt insecure, which is the reason that any of us lie. We're all just insecure and afraid of our own truth, or what someone will think of us, or what it will do to us, or how it will disempower us, or how they'll take advantage of us. And that's the only reason we ever engage in untruths. But if we knew that the moment we spoke it, the people that we spoke it to would see it, well, you'd stop doing it, wouldn't you? Because there'd be no point. So what if we could create a group consciousness of truth? Where no matter what happened, you say, you know what? I wasn't thinking, I made a mistake, I was afraid, I this, I that. But what if every word you spoke was just simply your own personal truth? Because we know what it feels like. Sometimes we say things, nobody intentfully comes up with this elaborate scheme to, intent to deceive. Well, I guess some people do. Most of us do it spontaneously out of discomfort or fear. I was late and I didn't want them to think I didn't care. I actually forgot, so I'll tell them I had traffic. And so we think maybe that we're doing it to benefit them because we don't want them to think that we didn't, do anything intentionally. But what if you just said, I am so sorry. I got distracted, I was tired, and I forgot the time. And it didn't mean that I didn't care about you. It was my own distraction that caused me to be late. Isn't that better than someone sitting there thinking, well, how bad could traffic have been that she was late an hour? Because then that doesn't feel good. So what if we could create an entire group consciousness that was based on truth? That was based on an idea of honoring the earth and being green and doing everything that we could to protect it and to honor our place here. Of tolerance, of recognizing that everybody's different colors and schemes and culture and age and religion of birth. And what if all of that really was just outside dressing and that inside we were all light and we all recognized that none of us are really very different? And what if we could create a group consciousness that says we're using all of these resources that could be used to feed people and give them medical care and meditation rather than using it for creating weapons and creating all these things that really, when you look at what is the real point, it's only the belief that there are scarcity and lack of resources that causes us to want somebody else's. But so what if we had a group consciousness of abundance? That we had everything that we needed all the time, everywhere, in every place, and every time. If we never lacked anything, it wouldn't even occur to us to go and get something that somebody else has. That's the toddler's creed. I don't know if you guys have kids, but when I was taking my 2-year-old to junior high, there was this thing on the wall. It was called the toddler's creed. If it looks like mine, it's mine. If I want it, it's mine. If it's yours and I want it, it's mine. If it used to be mine, it's mine.
That's the toddler's creed. Isn't it? If you're playing with it, it's mine. I mean, think about all the wars. What you've got is mine. That's what we're dealing with right now with going into Iraq and Afghanistan. We want the oil. They've got it, we want it. When I say we, the people that are doing that. China went into Tibet. I mean, and my ancestors are British. We're not even going to talk about all the colonizations that the British did. The sun never set on the British Empire. You know, I mean, they decided that, you know, it was just great. Wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody were British? So they went and they colonized everybody. You are now a part of the British Empire. Aren't you lucky? You know, we want all of your resources. We want all of your power. Everything that you've got, we want. Isn't that fundamentally what every single invasion going back to the dawn of time was about? That somebody had something that we decided the toddler's creed applied and we wanted it. Because there was lack. We believed in a fundamental belief of scarcity and lack. So wouldn't it be amazing if we could create, we talk about world peace, how you create world peace is if everybody had employed a fundamental concept of abundance. If we have everything we need, we don't need to go and get what somebody else has. It's that simple, it's that beautiful. Every war has been about resources, make no mistake. They say it's about, you know, a king got insulted, but those are usually just the reasons why they rallied the troops and created wrongdoing. But it was really every single invasion was in some form or another about wanting somebody else's resources. It's all a fundamental idea of scarcity and lack. That's it. So let's just say a prayer for a moment, if you would. And as we gather together, let's say a prayer for worldwide concepts of abundance, worldwide concepts of tolerance, and worldwide concepts of anything else anybody want to throw in there?
Peace, joy, and love.
Peace, joy, and love. Anything else?
Harmony.
Harmony?
Compassion. Compassion.
Compassion. Oh, thank you for that. We should never forget compassion. Calling in all of our guides, all of our guardian angels, all of the archangels, all of our starseed families, all of the elementals, the power of the earth, the ascended masters, anyone out there, any entity, spirit, incarnate or in the ethers, anyone who would hear our prayer when one or more are gathered, we say a prayer for the earth. We ask that all of mankind join together and embrace concepts of abundance, and for all mankind to understand the ability and the unlimited aspect of earthly abundance that we all have. We ask all mankind to embrace compassion, kindness, peace, love, joy, harmony, tolerance, brotherhood, cooperation, oneness, unitedness, teamwork. And so it is. Well, it doesn't appear that our guest speaker is going to be arriving today. So we can open it up for, pardon? You know, I tend not to check the messages when I come straight in here, so it's possible there's a message on the machine, but we're just going to go with it. And since we don't have a guest speaker today, I know that she was going to be talking about breaking the sugar blues, and so that's in line with what we were talking about. I'm just going to go in and dovetail to what I know was her topic. Rapina works with nutrition, and she is a very passionate and powerful advocate of us getting off of certain chemical things that are in our diets, and sugar is one of the biggest things. I've heard people talk about the reason why America is overweight. They went on this low-fat diet. Fat isn't what makes you fat. All of the non-fat foods that they put out there, they simply replaced with sugar. And sugar, by the way, gives you cravings for more sugar, and sugar converts to fat. Sugar is in any food that is white: flour, rice, milk, sugar itself, white milk. If you wanted to do anything for yourself, if you cut out white out of your diet, you would actually be 3/4 of the way to having a more healthy diet. If you just look at it and say, okay, so that would be gluten, because anything with flour, so you're looking at cookies, cake, white milk, white bread. These sugar cravings, they get into your head, they lower your sugar levels, and your blood sugar levels start spiking. When you eat a simple carbohydrate, your blood sugar level spikes and then it drops. And the spiking is kind of that rush, that feeling. It's when you want to eat something and you get that endorphins go up when you have those sugar things. But then of course you have that crash. Do you ever eat anything and then all of a sudden an hour later you're hungry, but your tummy's not rumbling, but you feel like you need to eat something? You're experiencing a sugar crash in the simple carbohydrates. It's in chocolate, because of the sugar they put in it, not natural raw cocoa. If you go and get that from Mother's and you make, you could do like this amazing chocolate pudding. You can take raw cocoa and mix it in a blender with avocados and make a beautiful chocolate pudding, and then you've got a 0 glycemic index. There's no sugar in that at all, and avocados are soft and sweet. Rapina has all kinds of nutritional classes that she's been teaching, and it's all over her website. She calls it Zen-trition. And she has these flyers and things, so she talks about death by chocolate. And she's very passionate about what it does to you chemically, but also how it puts toxins in your body. And when we talk about being spiritual and being wide awake and awakening yourselves, toxic thoughts, toxic conscious beliefs are one of the things that affect us, like thinking we have a bad economy and a terrible government and that everything is this, and those are toxic beliefs. And then you go and you add toxic foods to it. I know some people, you're vegan for the most part. You were.
I was at one point.
Was you? Okay. And I know, Vance, you eat raw foods pretty exclusively.
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference?
Oh, I would never have the energy I do. I mean, that's all because I have high energy.
Because
and it's only because I eat raw food. But that works for my body. I'm not sure it works for other people. I don't know.
I think for the most part, and there are advocates of eating raw food that say that you will get huge benefits even just putting raw food into your diet for one meal. The enzymes that you get in raw food that get completely destroyed. So even though this sounds like an ABC nutrition class, it is about spirituality, because when you eat low vibrational foods, then the vibrations of your entire mind, body, spirit also gets affected by that. We moved into a new apartment a couple of months ago, and it didn't have a microwave, and we decided not to get one. And we haven't missed it. And when you don't have a microwave, you just either eat it cold or choose to have your food differently, knowing, now that I know I don't have a microwave to reheat things, I tend not to make that extra serving. Or it goes into a pan or something, but not even having it in the house is better. And we got donated one here by the center, and I had asked for a toaster oven, and the person that donated decided that we needed to have a microwave. And they actually donated it to us even though I didn't ask for one. And I think I may actually swap it out, but just getting rid of the microwave. Anytime you can eat foods that are raw, and this is just a salad, and nuts and seeds and things like that, the enzymes and the nutrition that are in those foods is amazing. And I have had a week or two where I've eaten raw food and my energy was amazing. I could tell the difference. I felt 10 years younger. I felt more light. My sugar levels were stable. The quantity went down. And I could think clearer and I slept better. And so you kind of wonder, why did I go and go get a big deli sandwich, and why did I go and get that pastrami sandwich? And when I know if I eat that, I feel terrible for an hour or two afterwards. But if I go to Mother's and I get, the raw pumpkin, dessert, I feel wonderful. And the quantity I eat is 1/3 less. It's as expensive. It's $7 for a piece of raw pumpkin pie at Mother's and $7 for a big pastrami sandwich that would last 3 meals. But it's the same price. But you're looking at gold and you're looking at dirt, as compared to what you're eating. And I watched this program a couple of weeks ago called Food Matters. And what really hit me in this program was this guy said people will go out and they will buy an expensive car. And they'll go out and they'll go to expensive dress shops. And they'll go on vacations. And they'll buy a big expensive home and they'll put really expensive furniture in there. And then they go to the grocery store and they bulk because organic apples are $1 more a pound than regular apple. And you would do all those things, but you wouldn't feed yourself. That kind of thing. So it's making a priority. It's deciding, this is your body. This is your house. This is your transportation. This should get first priority. This is where all the good stuff goes. So I've been making a joke recently. I used to be, somebody that bought shoes. I was just really big shoes. And now I say, who needs shoes when there are crystals? Now I spend all my money on crystals. And it's like, oh, that shoe. I can wear that shoe one more season. I can get another year out of that pair of shoes. I'd rather have a crystal. Well, what if you could make that choice about food? What if everything that you did, what if you decided that you could wear that shirt another season, or maybe not go on that vacation and not have that new couch, and spend that money instead on something that would triple your energy? That's the experience I had. How do you feel, Dan? So is triple about right?
Oh yeah, there's no way I could do what I do if
Yeah.
I didn't eat raw food. It's just not
Yeah.
I would not have the energy level. And as soon as I take things which are cooked, my energy level goes down.
And for those of you that don't know Vansel, this guy gets up and starts moving all day. He does yoga and horseback riding and dance. You are just up every day doing something every way. And I won't tell you his age, but suffice it to say, I wish I had his energy. And you've got the energy of people half your age.
Oh yeah, well I'm with very young people. So.
In fact, I think you said that there were girls in your class that were 20 and 30 that you were dancing circles around. And
Yeah, but I've had a lot of experience. I've had
Sure.
a lot of training. So
yeah.
but you need the energy level to do it.
So what if, and this isn't even advocating, we're not even talking about the idea of, first of all, raw is vegan, so you're no longer eating any of the animal products of the earth. And I got a message yesterday from Noe. I took a reading with Tor Moon here, who does the goddess readings, and she was the goddess of African wildlife, and she was talking about honoring the energy of the earth. And the message I was advocating veganism and green. Because really, so the first thing, not only does eating raw food take out all the sugars, all the simple carbohydrates, everything is high enzyme, it honors the earth, and it's very green. So this lecture wasn't to go home and tell you ought to be raw, but even if you do it just for your own personal benefit, triple the energy. Can you imagine what you could do? The couple of weeks when I was raw, just for a straight couple of weeks, I was waking up after 5 hours. I didn't need 8 or 9 hours. And then while I was awake, my energy levels were much higher. And that's just a food choice. That's people who eat raw talk about getting off prescription medication. And when you see pictures of people, if you go to raw websites and you see the before and after pictures, and these women are saying, I don't even exercise, and they've lifted their shirts and they're showing a six-pack, for eating raw for 2 years. Because the fat just goes away and the muscles are being fed so much with all the nutrients. So, who wants a six-pack without having to exercise? Exactly. Okay, come on, I know you won't. So I know that was what Rupina was going to talk about, and she was going to be bringing all kinds of details and the classes that she teaches and the experience that she's had. I know she's got a whole program on how to get people off of the addiction, and it's really just a choice. We can really go in and just look at, so if you could do anything, even if you don't go raw vegan, I would ask you to do 2 things. I would ask you to toss out your microwave if you have one, and really just get it out of the house. It's not only what it does to the food, but even the waves in the house. So I would ask if it's built in, just, don't even use it, just make it a bread box. Store your aprons and your towels in there. Don't even use it, don't even turn it on. And if it's a portable one, give it away. That in itself, and then getting rid of white in your diet, and looking at getting whole grains in there, and you don't need milk. Most of you are lactose intolerant. Some people start showing the signs of it, but you don't. Cow's milk? You're not cows. You're not getting your liquids from teas and juices and waters. So if you could just cut out white milk, white rice, white gluten coming from flour, anything that's white, if you just decide to remove white from your diet, you've already made it 100% increase nutritionally over that. Just cut out white in the microwave. And, the raw stuff, I do notice when I eat it, all of a sudden, just the volume of things that I would eat if it wasn't raw, and then I look at the volume of the raw, and it's 1/3 the volume. And it's really satisfying because your body's getting everything it needs. When you get cravings and you've eaten a full meal, it's because your body didn't get the nutrients it needed from the meal. And it's telling you it needs more nutrients. That's why you get food cravings. So if you were to eat something highly nutritious, you would never have another food craving. It just wouldn't exist. You would only get hunger. And there's a difference between your tummy growling of hunger and a food craving. So how many of you are you eating when you have a craving rather than actual tummy rumbling? And the craving means that you're not eating nutritionally in your body. Your body is signaling you for more food even though your stomach's not empty. So I know that was her topic, so thank you, Rupina, for sharing. I am
Very interesting.
Anyone have any questions for Rupina?
A question for you. I saw a movie called Knives Over Forks, or Forks Over Knives, and it's about becoming a vegetarian. But I'm kind of confused because I've heard, it's good to cut it out, but I have kids, so I don't know if they would still need meat products and dairy.
There's a lot of people, first of all, there's a genetic component to whether you are easily going to be able to transition into vegetarianism. If you've got a seven generations going back of eating meat, so for somebody who was raised in China or India, where genetically they have been for generations eating vegetarian, it is so easy for them. For those of us that have European backgrounds, that are Italian and English and German, where they've been eating meat for thousands of years, it's a little harder for us to cut it out. When I would try to go vegetarian, I gained weight because I was really craving the proteins. What Adam and I do now is we go to Mother's and we get vegetable protein and we put that in our shakes. And it's like spirulina. So you do need protein, and your kids need protein. But there are sources that you can get it from. A really good vegetarian diet takes a lot of work and effort and structure to get all the protein in. And if you were just to go to Mother's or any other place and buy raw food, I mean, if you were trying to do that for a family of 5, that could get pretty outrageously expensive. You definitely would be giving up the new car and the vacations, and the new TV. It would be a big choice to make. We have an Indian lady that works for my husband, and she's been vegetarian all of her life, and she's got lentils in her kitchen. I mean, she's just got 10 different kinds of lentils, and she makes lentil soups and lentil stews, and she'll take lentils and mash them and make sort of paste out of them and put those with vegetables. So what I would suggest is start introducing things slowly rather than pulling things away. Put more vegetarian type of things on the table and have them just naturally choose it, and create all your side dishes with really rich protein with legumes. Put the lentils in there, and then you can just gradually cut back on the meat. Everything is a nice slow process, nice and easy, nice and gentle. Anytime you do anything dramatic, you're looking at coming up with resistance. When I went vegetarian, the rest of the family wasn't, and it was hard. I had to make meat for the rest of the family, and then I would have to make dishes for myself that weren't, and it felt separate. So the easier way is to create dishes that maybe there's one meat dish and the rest are all vegetarian, and you just don't eat the meat dish. And see if your kids, they will eventually start wanting the vegetarian, because their bodies know that the vegetable proteins are healthier than meat proteins, and they'll start acclimating towards those choices. And then it could be a while before you end up getting meat out of the house altogether. But really, really, really slow process. That's what I would recommend.
You could also use like smaller, just little pieces of meat with lots of vegetables.
Yeah.
Like Asian dishes,
Yeah.
Indian dishes.
Exactly. Yeah. The Indian
Reduce
dishes.
that as
Yeah.
well and
Yeah.
take it away eventually.
If you look at
Just tofu
Asian
and
dishes,
stuff.
exactly. If you look at Asian dishes and Indian dishes, they are not predominantly meat the way the Americans are. I mean, they would never think of putting a Fred Flintstone slab of steak, on a plate the way and putting a little baked potato and a little bit of broccoli with it. I mean, that's just. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do.
Isn't that for his eyes out?
But yeah.
That's the raw piece.
So if you could start introducing and start gradually pulling back on the amount of meat, but I would, especially with kids, and really slow process, very, very gentle, and think about maybe like a year process from start to end. Just very, very gentle, because you don't want to get resistance.
And you can make things flavorful too, using zesty spices and herbs and cilantros and
Yeah,
things like that, onions. You would like it.
a lot of things.
Salt. Mrs. Dash is great.
Yeah, I think that's what I need. I need to take maybe some cooking classes to help.
There, Meetup is great. There are all kinds of vegetarian, vegan, and raw meetup groups, and they meet during the day, and they meet on the weekends, and they do potlucks together. That is an amazingly easy way, and then you're getting into groups, you're getting into group consciousness again. That's the whole theme of today, was about group consciousness. So if you want to do that, go and join those meetups of vegetarian, vegan, and raw ones, where they get together and they each bring a dish and they share recipes, and you're eating the food together, and that you share that.
Okay, great. Okay.
Pardon?
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. There's a couple of people here. I wanted to have some raw meetups here, because I think a lot of people are tending towards that. And I really applaud Bansal, because being 100% raw is it's a commitment, and it's only, I think it only takes 21 days. They say to form a habit. I mean, if you can do it for a month or two, the way you feel, you would never go back to eating the other food, because you would just why would you rob yourself of 2/3 of your energy just by eating one kind of food when you can eat another? So there's a group consciousness in the diet in America, and somebody said to me it was called SAD, the Standard American Diet. It is. The group consciousness in our diet here is terrible. Fast food, if I could do one thing well, actually, I've got a list of things on my hands that I say, if I could wave a magic wand and have things go away, I would get rid of the cigarette companies, the alcohol companies, the credit card companies, and the fast food, and the pharmaceutical companies. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Those 5 things. When you think about how those 5 things contribute to the toxins and the way that we live our life and the quality of life that is impaired by us buying in to those 5 types of corporations. So, but you can do that